NIL and this transfer and portal stuff right now?
Yeah, so to bring it back to, you mentioned it a couple minutes ago, the NIL money is going to have to calm down in how you structure rosters.
Yeah.
Mentioned, like last year, we got really carried away with let's just get guys and give them money, not worry about how their games fit, how they fit culturally, and we lost the culture really bad. And so if you're wanting to build a program rather than just a kind of one-hit wonder or a couple years, you got to lay off the NIL a little bit and go for guys that'll fit you, your system, and your coaching. And I see McCasland mentioned that from the beginning. I want guys that want to be here for Texas Tech and they're going to want to work hard and play really hard.
Guys that love basketball.
Right, and guys that love basketball.
Sounds simple, but
that's how you build culture, is getting guys that want to play for Tech, like Robert Jennings, apparently, that want to work hard, play really hard. And we didn't have a lot of guys like that last year. And that also kind of, makes the locker room leadership somewhat questionable too. So I think it's good that we're hearing, you've heard in text with some people about maybe the NIL taking a little rollback on how much money is getting spread out. And I think that's a good thing in the long run. Now, if you're getting a guy like, who's that? Like that Miller kid for Alabama. Like if you're getting a top 5 pick type guy, okay, maybe you game plan, change some things there. But for some regular guys and starters and rotation guys, like, let's not dish out a ton of money. Let's get guys that we want to coach and they want to be coached. You want to get
I definitely think our like money guys like Womble, Campbell, level 13. They're not money guys, but they're helping facilitate that or whatever. And I know they had a hand in like kind of picking some of the guys who are coming here. And I think we just got like, we got to be this big bad NIL thing. We're up there with the top.
Last year was money first.
Money, it was money guy. The money guys were picking the players, and then I think Adam just was like, whatever, like y'all do it and see what happens. And look what happened. I mean, he ended up being right. Ultimately, cost him the job, and obviously there was faults that he had to that too. But I think as McCasland has asked, like, I am in control of the NIL, not Dusty Womble, not Cody Campbell, not money guys. And so if he's responsible for that, then I definitely feel like at ease, because he's going to get the right guys, and then he's going to go to the NIL and tell them, hey, y'all make this happen. And the key is, like, we got away from finding guys who wanted to play basketball. And I think the problem with the money guys is they found a bunch of guys who were money guys too. And that all they cared about was getting a bag instead of actually like going out there and playing ball. And you need to find the guys who actually care about playing ball, because if you go out there and you focus on basketball, the money's going to always be there. The money's always going to come. If you go out there, focus, be good at basketball, the money's going to come. Whether it's this year at Texas Tech, maybe not, but look at what happened to Adonis. He came here, had a great year, and he's got a chance in the G League now, maybe a chance that he didn't have before he came to Texas Tech. So it creates opportunities if you're willing to learn, willing to put the effort in. And if McCasland can find those guys, you can have success. Look at the NIL this year. You have 2 great examples, I think. You have 3 great examples of what NIL can do to you. You have Texas Tech. You can get all the guys, all the talent in the world, right? But if the guys don't love basketball, if they care about the money, like, you watch that implode this season. Or it could work out. You get all the guys for money and you can make the Final Four like Miami. Or you can just find guys who want to play basketball and be good at basketball, and you can have Kansas State happen. And the Kansas State one's sustainable as hell. You can find really good dudes across college basketball who can come in and play good basketball for you. And that's what Kansas State had. They had 8-9 different guys who could play really good basketball. And of course, it helps to have a guy like Marquise Noel who can take his game to another level. But that's a much more sustainable thing in this NIL culture, is just finding those guys and having a coach like Jerome Tang, like Grant McCasland, who can go find those guys that he needs for that system and make it work. And so ultimately that's what you got to have. And if, and I hate to say it, but if Jalen Tyson's not that guy, if he's a bag chaser, guy who doesn't want to be coached, do I want him? Like, I don't know if I do. If he's like, I've heard he's not a very coachable guy, and it sucks because you can see all the talent there. But
yeah,
bro, if you don't want to be coached, if it's like, are you going to fit in? Are you going to buy into any culture?
So great segue to actually talking about individual guys. The guys that I listed, the 7 guys, obviously Jennings is solidified. The other 6, I want the other 6 here. Like Pop, Lamar, Demorian, Jalen, Kerwin, Kyron. I want them here. I mean, we saw flashes from all of them, some more than others, but I think those guys want to be better, but just didn't have great leadership from coaches and players last year. So
more opportunity.
Don't know where they fit in because of that. Now, Jalen should be that guy, but is he?
Yeah.
And that's where I kind of get with the other 2 guys, Bacho and Fisher. I still want both of those guys back.
Oh, yeah, I would too, yeah.
Because Bacho is a 7-foot, really good player we saw. I mean, we saw great flashes of that in the non-conference. And you don't find guys like that everywhere. Like, there's not many of those running across the state or the country playing college basketball. You don't find many 20-year-olds like that. And we're not going to be able to replace him, to be honest. Like, transfer as good as him. Like, he's got Power 5 offers. He's not going in major and whatnot. He's going to be back in a Power 5 conference next year. But we also saw his kind of attitude late in the season. Does he want to be here and work for what he's got? So that comes into question. Fisher, we're obviously number one Elijah Fisher podcast until he leaves. And obviously would love him back. He's got by far the biggest ceiling of any of these guys.
He's like, if you created the perfect player for the no middle for what we want to do, he's that guy. He's strong. He's 6'6", 6'7", lengthy, can guard 1 through 5, can guard a post because he's big, physical. Yeah, he's like the perfect player for this. But apparently I don't feel
all of them back, whether they want to be here or would be good fits for McCasland. That's up to him. And like you kind of said, not much of that is getting out right now.
Yeah. Not much is getting out right now. From what it sounds like, Tyson's 50-50, Pop's 50-50. Kind of feels like Lamar is in. I haven't heard any rumors of him like hitting the portal or anything, which is key because I also think Lamar is like a perfect player for this system. And you saw it a lot with his defensive potential last year. And if the offense can get more consistent, like he's a guy that I want to be here. You obviously know it with Pop and Tyson. So it just depends. You got to trust the process, though. If McCasland feels like these guys aren't passionate about ball, don't love the game, are here for the money, and they find themselves in the transfer portal, like I think you got to trust McCasland and his decisions. And it's hard to right now because you don't know him, you're not familiar with him. He hasn't won any games here yet, but I think like if you're really bought into McCasland, you're just going to have to trust the process. And it might be a long one. It might see some guys that you want to be here go, unfortunately. But I think you're ultimately going to get guys who are going to come into this program and like be bought into the program, be bought into the university, and be like those guys like a Bryson Williams and Adonis Arms, like guys that you fell in love with it for a year. Like those guys are out there. Like those guys are out there, and you just got to trust McCasland to be able to find them.
I really want that UNT big man, their 6'10" kid.
Yeah. Him or, I mean, obviously Tyler Perry would be great, but it seems like this dude's just loving his options right now, and he's like on all sorts of visits, and he's just like taking advantage of this.
Good for him.
I mean, yeah, hey, a kid who probably thought his whole career was just going to be at UNT, and now he's getting like all these SEC schools coming after him. Like, yeah, I mean, that's where the transfer portal is cool, is like you get these guys who didn't have those offers who go and work their asses off, and then now they get this chance.
And you're getting kind of smaller guys getting some love, like Tyler Perry and the Kansas State kid who just went off. I forgot his name real quick.
Yeah, Marquise Noel.
Like they're both like 5'9", 5'10" type dudes. Like, good for them for getting what they want and go on some visits real quick before you figure out where you want to go.
Yeah, don't rush this process. Like, you got plenty of time, and you obviously got plenty of schools after you, so make sure you're going to the right one. And if that right one is Texas Tech, Tyler Perry, we'll take you. We'll have you.
Yeah.
But I think like that all depends on what Pop's decision is, because I think if Pop leaves, then you fill that role. You need to fill that role, and Tyler could be that. But if Pop's here, like I don't necessarily know if you need Tyler Perry that
running
really.
it back with two small guards like we did last year, and we don't really want that.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see what happens as, you know, the McCasland era gets started, as, you know, recruits actually start committing, as we actually figure out who is staying, who's committed to Texas Tech. But right now, all we know is Robert Jennings is back. And so right now it's a Robert Jennings fan podcast, right? Catch y'all at the next tailgate.